Charter Spectrum should just, I mean, they're Spectrum now, I should just be saying that. They decided it'd be really funny if they just shut my internet down. I looked over at the modem and they manually reset it on their own for no reason. So, good job, guys. You really are a fun internet service provider. Anyways, what else is coming out this year? What other games are coming out this year? I don't think of what else is coming out this year. Marvel. Well, that we already talked about that. That's not looking good at all. It was a very good grab. Is Wolfenstein this year? It looks like it could be fun, but not like amazing or memorable. Looks like it'll just be an okay little time. I would not want to pay full price for it, but I'd be up for playing it at some point. It actually looks like it'd be fun at least. Oh, this guy. Get out of here. Let me guess. Oh, I was 50 over. Okay. Hamoflange. Here, we'll do this. Let's have a serious little talk right now. I'm speaking only personally here, although I'll say this too, Julian feels pretty much the exact same way that I do. I'm happy on one end, at least, that the guys at Grumps want to support a game project. One that they probably think is helpful in the sense that it's supposed to be like, you know, a representative game for that kind of community and everything. One that Julian and I both happen to be a part of, and I'm sure that on their end they thought they were doing something good here by giving a budget to and publishing something like that, helping that along. But because I don't fault them in any way, I don't fault the Game Grumps themselves because they're not really involved with it. It's a specific team making it, but firsthand being there in that office since that game was conceived and being made and worked out and everything, witnessing it firsthand, knowing what it is, seeing the mentality of just the team lead and everything, knowing everything that I know about it, I typically do not get offended by these sorts of things. This is the first time I think I've ever actually been offended by this sort of thing, just because not only do I know that the game itself is existing just for the sake of exploitation and preying on current mindsets, it wants to hit the Tumblr audience. It wants to hit with these crowds. That's why it exists. It's its whole purpose. But also seeing how it's been treated, how it's been handled, how loosely it's been kicked around and everything too. Like, oh, you got. I talked to an LGBT person, so it's good, even though, you know, the game is just hollow. That sort of thing. It's upsetting. It's upsetting to me. The posts that they've made publicly about it have made it very clear that this is just a boastful thing. It's to put themselves on a pedestal. It's to make themselves feel good about this, like they're being heroic by creating this, when it's just a little visual novel. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's not even written well or anything either. It's just really, it's really upsetting to see, because on one end it's already troubling because of what it is, how they're handling it, how they're treating it, how respect is not a thing that they care about here. It's just that they want to be able to market and sell to these people. That's the only reason it's being made. So that's already troubling, but then also seeing the response that it's gotten, seeing websites reporting on it when there's nothing there to report on, there's nothing that's been shown, seeing people excited for it when, you know, the teaser trailer didn't even show artwork because they didn't even have that ready at the time that they had made it. Seeing that there's merchandise already when no one even knows what this is. People think it's a joke game when it's not supposed to be a joke game. It's meant to be completely serious. There's just meant to be little wacky bits thrown in. Like, it's not meant to be a joke game. And that should already say how troubled this already is, how this is not being handled properly. This is not... If you're going to be doing this to begin with anyways, this is not the team that should be necessarily doing it. It's not even really connected in any way. It's just taking advantage of that sort of connection. And like I said, I don't fault the Grumps at all for this in any way. I'm sure they have confidence in it, and people may enjoy it. People might actually get something out of it, but from my end, seeing everything, knowing everything about it, it just comes off as nothing but exploitation. Exploitation of the game industry, exploitation of the gay community, exploitation in terms of that audience, hoping to prey on teens, the Tumblr crowd, all of that. That's all it reads as to me. And I can't stand behind it in any way. I'm really repulsed by it. I really do not enjoy it. And I mean, it's still a bold step, at least, for Game Grumps to be publishing a game like that, to be doing something like that. And, you know, I hope it goes well for them. I don't blame them, like I said, because they're not the ones making it anyways. It's just them that they've been supporting this team doing it. But like I said, everything I've seen from it, I cannot stand behind it. That's how I feel, at least. That's just my own perspective on it all. And for people wondering on this too, like, well, you're saying all this, but listen, we've been in that office for about a year. We've seen the... I was shown the game at the office already. I've watched as it's been made. I've talked to people involved with it. I've witnessed it. I understand what it is. So being able to take all that in and everything, it's coming from somewhere. This isn't nonsense. And like I said, a game that already has merchandise out when you haven't even seen gameplay itself, you have no knowledge of anything within it. People think it's a joke game. People don't even think it's an actual game. They think it's just like a joke game, when it's actually meant to be like visual novel. They keep saying it's a dating sim too, and it's not. It's a visual novel. Everything leads down the same path typically. But knowing all that, like, yeah, it's saddening to me. Because, like I said before, Julian and I crack jokes about this kind of thing all the time anyways. It's not a thing that typically would ever offend me in any way, but seeing such a piss poor job kind of be done in this kind of way, I don't even want to say that, I guess. That's being pretty harsh, but just seeing a total lack of caring and just feigning interest in all of this when it's just being used to put someone on a pedestal like the team lead. It's upsetting. This is how you would have to actually do this sort of thing to get me offended by it. Not by making fun of this community or something, or cracking jokes about it, because jokes are jokes. I don't care about any of that. I can even take in good humor direct insults about that kind of thing. I don't typically care. It should be pretty clear through OneyPlays we can laugh at this sort of thing. But when you genuinely think that you're doing good and you value yourself very highly because you think you're helping everyone and that you're a hero, when you're doing nothing to help, all you're doing is trying to take advantage of these people, I can't get behind that. That's where I actually would get bothered, and that's where I kind of draw the line. But anyways, like I said, good luck to them on it, and I hope at least if they're going to publish games under Game Grumps, I hope they go for some good variety. I hope they go for more interesting things in the future. If this one goes well, maybe they'll grab on some other stuff later on and open doors for other people. It's a strange choice. I don't quite understand it, but I feel like they'll at least try to attach to other projects. I'm sure they felt like this was in good faith, that they thought this was something good. I don't blame anyone there. I just blame the lead of this project and what they're trying to do with it. That's really the only place where blame should kind of be going. So that's how I feel about it, and I don't want to speak for Julian. Julian could probably talk about it too, but I know he feels almost completely the same way. And as I said before, seeing people post about it when nothing is there for it, absolutely nothing is there for it right now, and people are making posts about it, there's articles about it, it really is telling about where things are at, and I am not happy about it. I'm not happy about how this gets to happen too, that there gets to be a bigger divide created now between like the gay community and the straight community, that sort of thing. I don't like that a bigger gap gets to be created because people who are involved with this get to act so nasty about it and put down like, oh, cis straight white males. It's like, come on. This is just, especially when it applies to you, that sort of thing should not be a mentality going in with it. You should be focusing on trying to just create something empowering if that's what you want to do. You shouldn't be going in trying to lash out at another side, especially when you're on the side that you're lashing out against. But I feel like that is one of its weaknesses already, is that it's just going to be creating a bigger divide, if anything. It's also, what's there doesn't have any substance anyways. There's nothing there. It's very minimal what they're doing with that. It's just kind of existing as hype without actually having much of a product there. And I don't know. It's troubling to me from that side, and it's troubling to me seeing people report on it and talk about it and do articles on it when there's nothing there, because it's those people also taking advantage of their audience to promote something like this when they know nothing about it. They're just trying to go along with this. It's upsetting on all ends, and that's why I'm bothered by it. I don't like what this means for the game industry, because I've gotten to see this and how it all played out. I don't like how this is in terms of how it affects the gay community either. I feel bad about it in pretty much every single way. So there we go. That's that. I'm not happy about it. Summed up, I'm not happy about it. And summing it up again, like I said, I don't fault anyone with that. I don't fault any of the Grumps. I don't fault anyone there. I just I fault the team lead for it. That's it. It's something that they probably had good faith in and thought it was going to be something doing more help than harm, but no. After what I've seen, absolutely not. That's not what it is. So let's go to the fog route. Why just the lead? Because the lead is why the game is being done to begin with, and why so many of the decisions have happened, and why the mentality is the way it is. That's why you'll have a Tumblr post insisting that it's bigger than anything that was at E3 because it had Tumblr reblogs when that's not how it works. And then not only do they insult the industry itself, saying these shit fuck AAA titles and the channel that makes the fart jokes. It's like way to take shots at everybody. Just ungratefulness too. I don't know. It upsets me in a lot of ways. I don't think that's a wrong move for Game Grumps though. I hope Aaron is interested in doing more like that though. Trying to publish more games under them or something, and giving budgets to people for that sort of thing, because that at least is inspiring. It's just not I don't think it's the right people what they're doing this for. It's not even everyone involved either, like I said. I blame the lead specifically. The guys programming it were really friendly. All of them are really friendly to talk to. So can you kill these guys? Or do they just fall over? I think they just fall over. You can probably get them when they fall down, I guess, and get some points off of it. I'm at least thankful with some of these stages that they don't expect you to kill absolutely everything. Oh. Oh my god. I don't think it was the right game. Well, I mean, believe me, I don't understand the decision with this being the game of choice. I think it was just because they thought it was going to be doing something good, but it really, even if it was proper people working on something like this, I still don't think what the game is going to ever really be something that could work out too well. I missed again. I need to hit those. Oh, we're going to play the Insane Trilogy, don't worry. There's a reason why we're playing Crash 3 right now. We wanted to finish every original Crash game before moving on to the Insane Trilogy. So we're going to be playing it for sure, so don't worry. Oh, I was hoping there was a platform back there. Let's hope it does do okay. The Insane Trilogy? Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Because a lot of people are saying that too, like, well, if you want more Crash, well, we stopped having Crash because it went under Activision and they were just making really bad games out of it. I don't think the Insane Trilogy is exactly going to be like, oh, Crash is saved now, and we can finally have him back. It's still the same people. It's not necessarily a good thing, if it did well. Nor is it going to send much of a message either. Or are you talking about the Game Grumps game? I'd like it to... I don't know. I'm conflicted. On one end, I'd like it to do well because obviously, like, friends of mine are involved there and everything. And on the other end of it too, I'd like to see them publish more. Like I said, I'd like to see them get involved in more areas like that. It means they can do cool stuff for the industry. They could actually do cool game stuff. I'd be all for that. it's just the game in specific and who's doing it. It's disappointing to me. That and having the wave around and showboat like, see, we got LGBT representation. Hey, you had 2 people at the office the whole time who were not thrilled about it, but good thing that that conversation never had to happen since it was kept pretty distanced. Oh, ran right into those. Oh, whoa, it jumped up to 60 for a second there. It looked really good when it was running at 60. Oh, Blasto was not a great game, are you kidding me? Blasto was not a good game. I wanted it to be good. I remember I actually got excited for Blasto when I was younger. Listen, if you're going to be doing a project like this anyways, where you want to make a game that's representing a certain community, if you're not a part of that, and you're the one wanting to make that kind of game already, you might be in a bad spot. Especially if you're going to start going out of your way to just look for people like that. Like, okay, I need one of those now, so I can say they support it. That is the wrong mentality to take with anything. That's just awful. Should never have to come down to something like that. Oh, I'm dead. This is on a personal end too, because this one is purely me. On that one, I feel like that probably should be a general rule of thumb. Here's more specific. In terms of representation in that sort of regard, I think we've hit that point already. I think there's plenty of it. We have a show on Cartoon Network that's massively successful right now that's focused on themes like that. We've had it worked into a Nickelodeon show very casually, just existing, that there's 2 gay dads. This is not exactly a thing that's new anymore. You're not exactly standing out by having gay representation. It's been done to death. It's very commonly accepted, for the most part, within society now. It's still frowned upon in certain areas for sure. Oh my god, when we're in Arizona, the amount of things that we heard and saw there. But still, this is one of the most accepting generations, period. It's why you have so much guilt tripping about this kind of thing coming from people. It's very commonly accepted now. It's not a very dangerous, untouched on area anymore. Things have evolved. So by doing something like this, it's not like you're breaking new ground. It's been done. And there probably should be a point where it doesn't feel like this needs to be an obligated thing anymore. Like, okay, they touched on this subject. I guess we have to talk about it. I guess it's helpful. Because guess what? It's what I was talking about earlier. The idea of not calling things out because you want to be nice, and then it gets to a point of exploitation that people just start exploiting everyone because no one can criticize anything, so the bad things just get to flourish. You end up in a spot like that, and that's how this kind of stuff starts happening. And I remember the quote from Anthony Birch saying like, oh, why does it matter if I shove in a gay character? Who cares if it's forced? Well, you know, that's how you know you have a bad character, is that you had to force something like that. You had to make them a token in that regard. Because it's like we're in that era again. It's like we have the Burger King Kids Club going again. It's like all that is happening again, that everyone sees it like that you need to be shoving this in everything. And when it's in everything, it doesn't stand out anymore, because people think that too, like, we got representation going. When everyone's doing it, it's not really unique as a thing anymore. And then on top of that, when your character especially when it's relating to sexuality. That's where it's the most glaring as a thing. When it's like, oh, we have a gay character, and how they have to do that is you have to force that in somewhere. You have to force that into whatever your narrative is. You have to have that come up at some point, because guess what? Sexuality is not a visible characteristic. You can know somebody in real life who's gay and probably not know that they're gay for probably years and years and years on end, because guess what? It's sexuality. It's not something that comes up all the time. In fact, very rarely is that ever going to come up. It's not a thing that is just transparent and being waved around 24/7. And if it is, it means that you probably don't have much to you as an actual person. But that's how they have to do it with characters in that regard. They have to make that all there is to them. So there you go. You're going back to tokenism. You think you're doing help, but you're doing more harm than anything. And that's what's always been happening through this typically now. You're not getting actual representation, you're just getting that. You're getting people try to take advantage of that right now because that's the hot thing. And everyone thinks it's doing more harm, or they're not thinking it's doing harm, they're thinking it's doing only helpful things, when in reality, no, it's just making this making this something that you can market material through. And you know, the best characters in fictional media, you probably don't even know are gay, because in a well-written story, it probably never even came up at any point. If you want a good gay character, you know what you do? They're a character. You don't write it that way. If you're already gonna say in your mind, I'm writing a gay character, then you've probably lost, because that's what your focus was to create a gay character as opposed to just creating a character. This is a really short world, isn't it? Oh no, it's the catfish. He's end all, beat all. That's his full name. How are you recording this? I have an Elgato with FrameMeister hooked up to my N64. Define written as gay. I mean, I said it already. If the mindset when you're creating a character is, I'm creating a gay character, if that's the first thing that you're thinking, then you're probably not going to be setting up a good character, because you're trying to create something like that. You're trying to manufacture a character based around that specifically, as opposed to just letting them be a character. It's like saying I'm creating a black character. I'm creating a white character. You shouldn't be limiting yourself in that sort of way. You shouldn't just be thinking to yourself, I'm going to create this kind of character. You should be making a character, because that sort of thing doesn't determine someone's personality necessarily. That doesn't have to have any influence over who they are. And that's supposed to be the idea behind this too, I thought. I thought the idea behind all this, having people accept all of this, is to recognize that they're people too. Not that they just exist purely as that. But I guess that's changed. Especially with everyone heavily trying to guilt trip each other for this kind of thing. Oh. Now I'm dead. Whoop, I didn't know they could bump you off. Tracer. Yeah, I wonder why they did that with Tracer. There's that too. There's the other end where it's clearly not a decision made until just later on for the sake of... I mean, say what you will about Notch, but even he made a little joke about that by saying how Steve from Minecraft is gay, and everyone's just publishing stories like, did you know he's gay? And it's like, that's the joke. The joke behind him saying that is that anyone can do that. Anyone can just make a step and do that to a character. And guess what? It proved the point because everybody reported on it, everybody talked about it and thought that was a major thing when it doesn't mean anything. It's a thing that people will do sometimes to just take advantage of an audience. Something's forgotten about, so they end up doing something like that. I've heard from people directly that when working on projects, they've been pressured into just making characters gay for the sake of helping it be more marketable towards certain audiences. Like, sometimes it's forced onto people to do that with material. And that shouldn't be fucking happening at all. Are you kidding me? Why should that be happening? That's the opposite effect. Everyone treats this a certain way, like this is representing people and this is like empowering, but if it's doing that, if it's pushing people to be pressured into doing this and only this, then that's the wrong effect. It shouldn't be steering this in the opposite direction, doing the same thing but now in the opposite ballpark. That shouldn't be the intended goal. I thought the idea was supposed to show, like I said, that this is supposed to be middle ground. That's the idea. People are people, but I guess not. I got shocked. Ouch. I'm doing real good getting hit by these, because I need to rush this fight. Oh. I guess you can't hurt him while he's doing that. No, now you can. I guess he just has weird invincibility. Now I got myself. Anyways, a lot of that's on my own end. A lot of that's just personal belief on it all. Although, it's also coming from somewhere. And if I'm not allowed to talk about my own end, then what a time to be alive. I remember I did get yelled at by people over that years and years ago. They were freaking out at me saying, "It's a straight white male." Hey, I could have easily stooped to their level and, oh look, oh I'm rich! Oh yeah, you gotta do this one quick. I could easily stoop to the level of just saying something about how, yeah, that's not right actually, but I didn't bother because that shouldn't matter. The whole point is you shouldn't dismiss people based on birthright like that. People should be people. And I don't really have respect for people who think the opposite there. Too bad about that last one. Too bad about that last one. Oh, that's insulting. You want to get a silver for it? Excuse you, I did amazing. Just because I have to redo a boss fight. Oh, that's stupid of me. Do that boss fight again. How are you supposed to do this fight super quick? Is there like a secret to it? So you need to get 7,500 on this. I've had people call me out for having white privilege when I'm actually Native American. I mean, people have done that to Julian too. Julian was homeless repeatedly. People have done that to him. And oddly enough, it's always white people. How about that? Sort your own problems out as opposed to dragging others into it. That's what it always reads as too. Insecurity on your own end, so you have to act like you have an issue with the privileged. It's just you not even being able to figure out your own end. You're depressed about whatever mundane shit, and you try to act like you're an activist. You're tying it into social politics, but it has nothing to do with any of that. Hey, look at this. Apparently I'm supposed to have won the fight already. How are you supposed to do this quick? Obviously getting him to laugh is bad. I ate up too much time. Aim for the head. Is that what it is? I don't think it's the head, because his body... Whoever typed that, I don't think that's... Is that actually how it works? Yeah, that's what I was saying. His front end is his hitbox, I'm pretty sure. That's why I was trying to get around his body at the beginning. It's not his head. Gotta hit the head. Why does everyone keep saying that? When I've been hitting his body and it hurts him. Pretty sure it's his front end on his body. Get 4 firepower. I guess I have to. It's not a bad idea. Is there firepower on the stage? It is weird having to go back and grind like that. Oh, you have to actually finish the level to keep everything you got. Okay. We left it open for every Crash game that we can go back for gems. 2 was the only one we actually felt super inclined to get all the gems in because 2 is a really good game. I'm wondering if, oh right, I gotta get the key card. I hate this stage just for that. Oh, got it. Yep, Flintock, that's exactly right. And that's the problem I take with things right now, is that no one can speak up about anything and everyone always wants to remain completely positive no matter what. So... Oh, shut up. You don't have to show me this again. It's also bothersome for me because I do think it is because of web culture that people feel this way. As you have something like Reddit, for example, where you have upvoting and downvoting comments. So it's like, okay, well, do you have the popular opinion? No? Okay, well, you're downvoted and no one can see what you said now. The idea of that, like, if you don't have the common mindset, then you're wrong. That's a great reason why you don't ever get just... Everything's always one-sided now anyways. When all that stupid shit was happening a few years back, and then there was what's going on? There's all these cars going by. There was all that discussion years back, and the one guy said, well, you have to fight extremism with extremism. Yeah, that sure worked, right? Oh, wait, no, now everyone's fighting more than ever. No, guess what? That's not how you do it. By actually just being a logical, sane person, that would probably help. But everything's always two sides now. Even stupid shit like going to see a movie. Probably get health upgrades too. That takes way too long. I'm not going for that. It would save time during the boss fight because I could just blindly run up to him and not even have to try. As opposed to pacing out the fight. How many lives do I have? 3. I'll be fine on the fight if I just stay distanced. There we go. Americans are very weird. Many just have very troubling obsessions with identity and being part of a group. It's true, but at the same time, I mean, America's also like a melting pot. Like, there's all these different people who came from everywhere. So that's why there's a lot of pride within all of that, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just when it gets to the length that you're not feeling prideful on your own end, you're attacking other ends. That's why it's always strange to hear from someone who's straight that they need to be more careful around gay people, or someone who's white saying, "Oh, I just gotta look out for these pox," which, by the way, sounds like a slur, but it's the safe term that I've decided on because I said so, even though it's an abbreviation for colored. By the way, I still don't know why people have resorted to using that one. It does not sound good. That's not a positive sounding one. And it's still funny to me that people think that that's the right thing to stick with. It sounds like a slur. You're saying pock. It's like calling someone a fucking pockmark. You fucking pock. Yeah, piece of crap. It can be abbreviated like that. That's what people think it means sometimes. It does not sound good. Oh. Well, time to play this level again just to get that heart back. The funny chicken. Ha 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 ha. Where's the heart? Can I have it again? Or did I already blow it? What does the vest do? I don't even remember. Do like clerks. It does remind me that I got told by somebody that I need to get more offended by certain words that relate to me, when it's like, okay, well, guess what? I think I'm in the position to know if I'm going to be offended by it or not. Not to mention context matters. If someone just throws the word out by itself and there's no context, I don't think I'm necessarily going to get offended by that. It's weird to be told by someone else that I need to be bothered by things that relate only to me and not even to them. Yeah, the Mexican Mario thing's stupid. What was dumber about that is that everyone wanted to make fun of the fact too, like, oh yeah, you're gonna bring up the Speedy Gonzales defense. And then Julian, who is Mexican, immediately brought it up because guess what?